Hello guys, good morning. This is Pradeep Goyal here, and this is session number 6, part 2. So far we have seen two switches in our web console. One is the manual or NAND switch, and the other one is manual switch. Okay. Now, and there are 4 ways of sending a report to the agency. The first one is email. Then we have via print. We can print it. Then the third one is fax, and the fourth one is E2P. Okay. Now, the workflow remains the same. The report workflow of scheduling, generating, transmitting, tracking, and submission. It remains the same for each one of them. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how we can configure to send email via print. Okay. In order to achieve that, we have to go to Access Management, Argus, Sites. Okay. Over here, we'll select Rocket Farmer, and you will see here at the bottom it says Site Printers. You will have to give the printer name and the printer path. It could be a IP address of the printer. Okay. This is the first configuration. Then, next thing what we have to do in the reporting destination, preferred method could be fax or email. It doesn't matter. Okay. So, what you're going to do is, I'm going to copy an existing case. Let me pull out an old case, 11, 111. I'll copy this case. Now this case does qualify, it's a life-threatening event case. Okay. I'm going to schedule the report. This is the first step we do. Then we log the case. I will save it so that the generated date is populated. Sorry, I have to click on the final for generated date to be populated on the screen. My report has been generated. The next step is print. So I have to select the case, go to reports, bulk reporting screen. I have to specify the case number, retrieve the case, select the case. You see this option, print regulatory report. It should be print, and you click on this print button instead of transmit. You will see print button. Okay, so you can click on this. Do you want to mark the report as submitted? Yes, I can mark the report as submitted, and it is going to ask me the site name and the printer. So which printer the report is going to get printed. If I click on it, the PDF report will be printed. Now for tracking purpose, we have to go to bulk print screen. Bulk print is for printing. Bulk transmit is for email and fax. Okay, so bulk print. And we can check the status. Okay, now who is going to send the printer? Who is going to send the message? The control has to be done by the background service. The way we have a background service for email, bulk report transmit email, we have another service which is bulk batch report print. I'll show you. This is the service name. So we will have to configure this particular service, batch report print. Okay, and we will have to create and have to enter the database name, the username. We have to create a service user in Argus console, just like we did for other agent services. So for every agent services, you will have to create a new service user. Okay. So once you configure this agent service batch report print, the report will be printed to the printer. Okay. Now, so we have configured. I told you about email, print. The next is fax. Okay. Fax. For fax, it is important that the preferred method is fax in your reporting destination, and the fax number is entered. This is the first step you need. Okay. Other than that, what is the step you need from the case point of view? From the case point of view, just copy the case. I will select the same case. I'm going to manually schedule the report. Let us select the product name, select the license name, the destination is FDA, and this time I'm going to send SIOM's report. Okay, and I'll click on OK, save it, click on Final. Report will be generated. Copy the case number. Let's go to report, bulk reporting screen. Specify the case number. Select transmit. Okay. Retrieve the case. Mark as transmit. Transmission comment. And then you have to enter submission comment. And for tracking purpose, we have to go to work list, bulk, transmit. Number 19. Okay. You see, it is showing the fax number. Earlier, it used to show the email address, but now it is showing the fax number. Now, we will need an AG service to send fax. And what else we need? We will need a third-party software, which is a WriteFax. If you follow the install guide, we have the steps mentioned how you can install and configure your WriteFax software. Okay. Apart from that, from the agent service point of view, we will need 4 services. Let's see which are the services. The first service that we will need is batch report transmit fax. Just like we have batch report transmit print, batch report transmit E2B, batch report transmit email, we will need batch report transmit fax. This is the first service. Okay. Then next we will need is fax service. We will need fax status, check the status, and the last one we will need general fax. Okay. So we will need 4 services. So we will have to create 4 different services in our RS console, and we have to make sure that all these 4 services are enabled and running, and we can see that your application will send fax to the agency, to that particular number which has been provided in the agency. Okay? And the last way is E2B. E2B I'm going to cover in a later part of the session, but I would like to mention that the workflow remains the same. In E2B also, we do the same process. We schedule the report, we log the case, generate the report, transmit the report, plug the status, and then we mark the report as submitted. Okay. Before we move further, I would like to cover another AV service. Okay. So I covered this auto distribute report. Next, we are going to look into, there's another switch which says force distribute. When I check this box, I get a question, days before due. I can enter 2. Okay? And you must have also noticed that auto distribute reports got disabled. Now what this particular checkbox does. Now, assume that your case was reported on 1st of January 2008. 1st of January. And so report was due on 16th of January. Now let us assume that on 5th of January, Simon fell sick and he could not come to the office. Right? So in his action, there was no reporting done. Right? If this particular switch is checked, force distribute. Okay? So Simon has created the case on 1st of January. He falls sick on 5th of January. So there was nothing done on the case. The case was sitting idle. But if we check this box, force distribute 2 days before, that means the report was scheduled on 16th of January, 2 days before. On 14th of January, the application is going to lock the case, schedule the report, generate the report, transmit the report, and it will then again unlock the case. Okay? So, in order to accomplish this, we will need a service. We have another service. Let me show you. Force reporting. We will have to create another service user in our console, and then we have to configure this particular report, force reporting service. Other than that, you will have to check this box, force distribute, and give 2 days or whatever time period you want to give. So this is how you auto schedule when you force schedule, you force distribute when the case has been created and the case does meet the rule. So application is smart enough to distribute the report at that particular scenario also. Okay. So let us see what are the services we have configured so far, and we have the understanding. I'll make a note of it. First is report scheduling, batch report generation, then bulk transmit email, bulk transmit print, bulk transmit fax, bulk transmit E2P. We know the working of it now. Then we have fax status, general fax, forced reporting. Okay, so you might also need batch report generation worker. Now, batch report generation worker is not available in the previous version, the version before 703. So it is available on any version on 703 and later. So if you have to configure batch report generation, make sure you configure both batch report generation and the workers. Okay. So we have covered so many services so far. We are going to cover bulk report transmit E2P in detail in a later part of the session. Maybe we will have to have a separate session on E2P. Okay. So now let's move ahead with our system configuration, system management. Okay. I just forgot to mention that there is another switch which you need to enter when you are doing a forced reporting. You have to enter the force distribution comment. This comment will appear in the routing comment section, in the routing tab, in the routing section. Okay. I would request to people to try this out. Try to configure force reporting in your environment and see how it works. Okay. So but you have to make sure that your case falls within the range to be distributed. So you have to make sure that you create a case with the initial receive date on 1st of January and the due date is on 15th and due date is on 16th of January and you configure 2 days before. So your current system date should be on 14th or 15th of January. Then the application will pick that case. Okay. Otherwise, if you configure on 5th, if your system date is 5th of January, then the system you will have to wait for another 7 to 8 days, so that it should reach the time limit of within 2 days before the due date. Okay. Thank you. So let's move ahead. System management. Okay. Now we have already gone through none and manual. The next switch is always. Before I continue with the always, there's another topic which I want to cover, which is local labeling, work list, local labeling. Now this is a very important concept of local labeling. So every case, every company, they create a workflow. When I say workflow, what happens is that when a case comes in, the data entry person, he logs in the data. After that, the case is routed to another workflow state, There is a reviewer. Somebody is there to review the cases which the data entry person has created. Okay. Once the case has been reviewed, it is routed again to the medical reviewer. The medical reviewer's responsibility is to assess the assessment, is to give the assessment on the case. Okay. After medical reviewer does the assessment, he routes the case to the distribution section. Okay. So first the data entry, then I have given coding review. Is another workflow state I have created for explanation, and then medical review, and later the medical reviewer routes the case to the distribution. So this is how every company, but in our case in Rocket Pharma we have only one supervisor, Simon, so he does all the work. So he's the data entry person. He reviews his case, he does the judgment, gives the assessment, and distribution. He does the distribution. When I say distribution, I mean to say that report workflow, what we have been doing so far in the session. Scheduling, generation, transmit, tracking information. Now, let us understand what this medical reviewer does. Okay. Now, let us assume that any patient, some patient has consumed your product, and because of that, he is claiming that your product creates cancer. It's very dangerous. Your product is life-threatening, creates life-threatening event, and it should be banned in the market, and it should not be allowed to be sold in the market, right? But you have already invested so much of amount, so much of effort in creating that product. You would not like that product to go away, and you are very much confident that the product will not create any such life-threatening event, right? So you are going to what you are going to do? You are going to study the case which has been reported, right? And you have a team of Rocket Pharma has a team of doctors who is going to study the case and will give the judgment. Okay. Now, in order to explain this local labeling, I'm going to explain you with another method. Okay. So, the serious event in our life, in our day-to-day life, it could be a death, a rape case, murder. It could be any conspiracy, any serious event which happens in the society. Okay. So, what happens? Any event has happened. Okay. What happens? The data entry. Data entry is the police inspector. It is his duty to make an data entry of all the details regarding that particular case. It is the responsibility of the police officer that he analyze and he investigate and get most of the information. Okay. Once the data entry, the police officer has all the necessary information regarding the culprit, he is going to forward the case to the court, the judge. Right? Now, it is the judge's responsibility to analyze, because we assume that judges are more knowledgeable. They are smart people. They know their work. They assess the case from different viewpoint, and they give their judgment. Right? So, what can the judge do? The judge can either release the culprit or he can punish the culprit. Right? Now, let us do a one-to-one comparison with our Argo Safety application. In Argo Safety application also, somebody has claimed that that your product is dangerous and should not be allowed to be sold in the market. So what are you going to do? You will have your medical reviewer within your company. Your medical reviewer team is going to get all the information for that particular patient, okay, and going to do a research on it. And just like the judge, medical reviewer is also a judge whose duty is to assess the event. I say assess the event. Event assessment is done by the medical reviewer, and then he gives us his judgment whether the event is unlisted or listed. Right? Whether the event is unlisted or listed. So this process of giving the judgment on a case is called local labeling. Okay. Now let me show you what happens. Let me create a case. I will select and I will open an existing case. I'll make a copy of it. I'm going to schedule the report. Case has been logged. I have generated the report. Now, let's go to report. Let me copy the case number. Let us go to report, bulk reporting screen. Okay, let me show you. Bulk reporting screen. Now let me retrieve the case. Okay. In this screen, you will see that there is an icon which is a person with glasses, and there is a cross symbol. What exactly? Who wears the glasses? Glasses are generally worn by. If you see a small kid wearing the glasses, you assume that he is very studious. If you see an actor wearing the glasses, you assume that he is very smart. If you see an old person wearing the glass, you assume that the person is knowledgeable and has a lot of experience, right? So the glasses itself, every icon has a meaning behind it. So these glasses, over here in this particular scenario, is for the medical reviewer. Okay, he is the person who has to give the judgment. So we have created the case, and when I click on this, so this exactly means is the local labeling is pending. That means the judgment is pending. That means the data entry work is completed, and we are waiting for the medical reviewer to do the operation. Okay. Once we click on it, what happens? There is no pending data for this case. Okay, one second, let me check. Let me go to work list, local labeling, case number. Let me copy the case again. Case action, copy. Work list, local labeling, Okay, I can see for all the other case, but I do not see for the one which I created 15, 16, 7, 20, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. Okay, I can see 1. This is the case number. Why it is not pulling up? Oh, there's a extra space. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay. Now, the data sheet is all. Let me select all. Why I do not have data sheet? Please give me a minute. Let me check my business configuration, product and licenses, Calpol family. Okay. My data sheet was not properly configured. That is the reason it is showing as unknown. Let me log out and log back in again. I'm going to copy the case, select everything. I'm not going to select event assistant. Okay, copy. Okay, so let's go to the events tab. Under events tab, we have around 4 events. Okay, cancer, cold, arthritis, asthma. Under the event assistant section, I'm going to click on the recalculate. Okay, okay, let me add another event. So, I'm going to add blind both eyes. The reason why I have added blind both eyes, because this particular event is a listed event I have configured in my datasheet blind both eyes. Okay, let me show you. You see blindness. Okay, listed event. This is a listed term. So over here, listed term blindness. Okay, let me save my case. So if a person has reported 5 different events has happened because of this particular product, Calpol, you say, so what happened? What do we see in this event assessment? This screen is very important. Now this is the screen where medical reviewer is going to give the judgment whether the event is listed or unlisted. Now this is listed, it is coming from the data sheet. Now he has to give a judgment on the rest of them. Okay, so he can click on this drop down and select listed. Okay, or he can select unlisted. Okay, when you are going to have unknown, you're going to have unknown if you do not have any data sheet associated with the license. If there is no data sheet associated with the license, and it will appear as unknown. Okay, We'll talk about this 3-star later in the later part of the training. Okay, I have made a note of it uh, because it requires a foreign case to be reported. Okay, so let's just concentrate only on the functionality of the local labeling. So this is the screen from where the medical reviewer is going to give a judgment. Either he can give it from this particular screen, or the medical reviewer, the judge, they do not have time to go through navigate through all the tabs. You see there are so many tabs. Okay, the medical reviewer, the judge. Now you have, let's think from the real case point of view. The police officer has made the data entry. Now when he sends when the police officer sends the report to the judge, he might send the entire book. Sometimes the case becomes so big, it is around 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 pages, and the judge does not have that much of time to go through all the 500 pages to give his judgment, right? So the same way in Alga safety also, we have so many screens. So, and by navigating all the screen, the judge will not be able to give the judgment. Okay, it will be difficult for him. So we have given him a bird view kind of a screen where all the important information that is required is available. Okay, now let us see where is that screen. Okay, we will we'll close it. Okay, so the medical reviewer, he is going to go to work list and local labeling. These are the open items. So he is going to go to the local labeling. He's going to give the case number. I'm going to click on missing something. Case number. What is the case number? 22 at the end. 16, 19, 20, 122. That is strange. Anyway, let's move further. So, okay, it appears that I missed one of the step of locking the case. Okay, it is mandatory that you lock the case, because when the police officer is making a data entry, he should lock the case and then he should freeze the data and then give it to the judge to give his judgment. Same process in our workflow also. So what now? So what medical reviewer is going to do in Argo Safety? He is going to go to work list, local labeling, and is going to pull out the case. Okay, this is the case. Okay, over here we will see that we can expand this one, plus it is going to show us the license view also. Okay, now here we can see from this is the datasheet name and this is the license name. So we can see that these are unlisted and unlabeled event. However, the blindness, this particular event which has which the patient is suffering from, is a listed event. Okay. Now, how is the medical reviewer is going to give the judgment? Now, so for medical reviewer, he is going to open the case. And he's going to go to case action, medical review screen. Okay. Now this is what do you say, a bird view. Okay. But it has the complete picture for any judge or any medical reviewer to give his judgment. Okay. It has the narrative information, the case comment, the company comment, the seriousness criteria, whether the case is serious, causal, whether this event is related or not related, unlisted, listed as determination, unlisted or listed, case outcome. It has the user can see all the information related to the case. Okay, you can go to the temporal view. Temporal view. Okay, guys, I just want to make a correction that if you want to see the case in the local labeling, the case should be in the log state. That is true. However, case should be in an unlocked state. It should be in a editable mode for the medical reviewer to change the listedness and unlistedness. So I am going to unlock the case over here. I'm going to select other. Okay, so I can see that I am able to change this values in the drop down. I'm going to save the case. Now what medical reviewer is going to do is, medical reviewer, he can go to case action, medical review screen. From medical review screen, he can check the case narrative, case comment, company comment, this, the case seriousness, causality, case outcome, event assessment, right? And then he can view the draft medical review. It is going to give a PDF file, and which is a kind of a summary of this particular case. Okay, medical summary, patient information, reporter information. So this is the one PDF file which is going to give all the information that is required by a medical reviewer to give his judgment. Okay, you can see first suspect, product name, generic name, gender. It does not have the patient name in this particular screen. Okay, so and the suspect product. Now, what are the display? What is the thing that he does not want to see? He can uncheck it, so those information will not be shown. You see? So I'm going to check it so that we can see what are the information is being captured. Okay, and this particular screen it builds a bar graph. It will show how much duration the patient was suffering from the disease. Okay, based upon the start and the end date, it is going to create a graph. The one like this is shown over here with the red dot, with the red bar. Okay, then we have action item and additional information. Contact, that means that is when and to whom was contacted for the data entry, whether enough sufficient information is available, whether the information that is available is complete, and the action item, is there anything pending in the case. So this is the screen where all this information is viewed, and then after the judgment is given of unlisted or listed, it is then forwarded, the case is forwarded to the distribution state. Okay. Now, before the distribution, before the medical review, there's another state. The name of the state is coding review. This is a coding review. I have entered. The reason behind I have entered to explain you what coding reviews are about. Now, what happens is that there are so many events in the events tab. Okay. Now these all events are coded against the meta dictionary. Now these events are added in the patient section also. I will show you. In the patient section we have this lab data. Okay. All these informations are coming from the Medra browser. Okay. Medra is able to encode it. Now we have to make sure that this is properly encoded. Now, in Argus Safety, we encode in different places. Okay, so it is important that we encode everything. Let me create another event which is not encoded. Then I will be able to show you. I have entered an event which I am not going to encode. So when I say it's not encoded, that means that this particular section, event coding section, will not be auto-populated, and it will have a cross sign over here. So this particular event test is not encoded correctly. Let me save it. I have saved it. Now if I go to event assessment section, I see that my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I do not see my test appearing in this particular screen. So the medical reviewer will not be able to give judgment against the test. So what we have to do is we have to make sure that all the events are properly encoded. Okay. So we have given a one screen which is going to detect if there is any event which is not coded. Then this is the screen where we will be able to code the event against the Medra or whole drug dictionary. Okay. Okay. Now you see test over here, and there's a cross appearing, and it has a orange kind of a bar. So it says that this has not been properly encoded. So this is the screen. Sorry. This is the functionality of the screen that we can encode it. Okay, now it has a green check mark against it. Now we can save and close this. Okay, this is the functionality of coding review screen. Okay, after it has been encoded, now if we save the case again, let me go to the products tab. I have, how many events I have? Let us see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 events. Okay. Not properly encoded over here. Let me just type the right name. Okay. And save it. Ignore this particular comment for timing. I'm going to explain you the always switch. Okay. I'm going to click on this recalculate. Okay. So if I click on this recalculate, it is going to show me the it is going to show me the events that I have entered. When I say recalculate, it is again going to search my data sheet and find out whether this particular event is listed or unlisted. Based upon that, unlisted or listed will be determined. Okay, so that is the functionality of case action and coding review. Let us see what else is missing. Okay, in coding review, we have general information, product information, event information, that information, patient information. Okay, so that looks good. And then we have got action item. We do not have any action item right now. Okay, we can return the case or we can forward the case to the next workflow. We can view the draft report and we can print the report and we can close. So this is the functionality of coding review. We have to make sure that all our events are properly encoded against the meta history. And then we forward it to the medical review team, and the medical review are the specialists, are medical experts, specialized people who does the assessment. In order to do the assessment, they go to a work list, local labeling. Local labeling is a term we have given to do the assessment. Okay, so and then here they click on slide 13 event, click on labels and assist. Sorry, it should be process. Okay, so it has been records are processed, and then the changes will be shown in the event assistant screen. Okay, so this is the concept of local labeling. The next I'm going to cover is the Argus console switch. So we have covered three screens in local labeling. One is work list, local labeling, and case action, medical review, and coding review. Okay, let's go to Argus console. The next topic is system management. System management, and there's a switch called always. Now, what does always do? Okay, always. Let me show it to you. I'm going to close this case. Okay, I'm going to open an existing case. We are back into scheduling. Okay, so we are going to understand what always switch has to give to Rocket Pharma. We have already seen none and manual. Okay, I'm going to copy the existing case. Okay, now in case of always switch, we create a case, we lock the case. Case has been locked. Okay, we then auto schedule the report. Okay, and then let me save it. You then click on the final to generate the report. Let us change the report details section. Let us change it to approve it. Approve. Outside the cycle, I'm submitting the report. This is how you do it. This is how you submit the report. I'm not following the usual workflow of transmitting and then tracking and then submitting it. This is another way of doing it. So I have submitted the workflow, submitted the report. On 16th of January 2002 it was due. Now a follow-up has come. Like follow-up, when I say follow-up, okay. I think I missed the one particular concept of significant and non-significant. Okay. Let's go back. Let me go back to the screen over here in our local labeling. In the screen, okay, the judge has to take a judgment, has to take a call whether to release or punish. Okay. Now let's suppose a follow-up information has received by the judge. Now let us assume that the police officer has got some more information for this particular case. So what he is going to do, and what is the kind of information he has? Let's suppose the police officer gets to know, the first information that he gets to know is that his father's name is John. Okay. Now, his father's name is John. Okay. And the second piece of information he gets to know is that the patient's age is 16 years or 15 years. Okay. There are two pieces of information. The first piece of information and there's a second piece of information. So the first piece of information, that his father's name is John. Do you think by giving that information that it is going to influence the decision of the judge? It is not going to change. It is not going to influence the decision of the judge. But if the judge gets to know that the patient age is 16, it is going to influence, because in India it is illegal to give a capital punishment or a hard punishment to the patient, to the criminal who are below the age of 18, right? So what judge can do, he can send the criminal or an accused to a correction home, right? So that is how it affects his judgment. So now question here is, his father's name is John is a non-significant information, and his age, that he is 15-year-old or a 14-year-old, or the patient is not medically fit. Okay? So if the patient is not medically fit, is not medically sound, mentally sound, it is going to affect the judgment of the case, right? So based upon that, whether the case is a non-significant, so the patient father name John is a non-significant information. However, the patient age is a significant information. If patient health, like if he is mentally ill, is a significant information. So this is how you differentiate between a non-significant and a significant information. Yeah. So let us go back to our case. Okay. So we have created a case number 124. Now, later, we have reported the event on 16th of January 2002. Case unlocked. A significant information has been received. So let me check significant. When was it received? It was received on 1st of February 2002. Sender receive date. Sender receive date is not mandatory to enter. Anyway, so a significant information. So the significant information could be any information. It could be related to product. Maybe the patient was taking another product along with this particular product. Okay, let me select any other product that was not disclosed. Maybe he was taking Mento US as another product that was not disclosed during the initial reporting. So in the follow-up, we got to know that the patient was also taking Mento US, right? Now you have to think everything from the medical reviewer point of view, from the judgment point of view. Okay, in order to do data entry. Now the moment I close the save the case, the application is going to give a pop-up. The question is, do you want to schedule the report? Now I do not want to schedule the report. I have not completed the data entry. I have some more data entry work to do. So click on no. Come on. Right. So I'm going to enter one more event. I went to the event. I click on new. I will select another event. Okay. Now I click on save. Okay. Now the first problem with this always switch is that every time I enter the follow-up information and I make some entry and I save the case, it is going to ask me a question. Do I need to schedule a follow-up? Okay. This time I say yes, I want to schedule a follow-up. What does the application does? It creates a follow-up record for me. Application does that for us. We do not have to manually schedule the report. Follow-up record. Now we are going to log the case. Okay. Next is we are going to click on the final to generate the report. We are going to save the case. Then we have to approve the report. In order to save time, I am choosing a shortcut method of submitting the report. However, the usual process is you have to go to the bulk report screen, select the case and transmit it. You track it from the work list screen and then you submit the report. Okay. You then save the case. Okay. So far so good. Now, let's suppose another follow-up has received. Case unlock. Now this time we are going to select non-significant information. Okay, this was on 1st of February we got the significant information. On 1st of March we received a non-significant information. If I check this box, it will become a significant information. I'm going to uncheck it. I want to enter a non-significant information. So what I'm going to enter is, I'm going to enter institution to which reporter belongs to. Okay, so he belongs to Bollywood. Okay, I'm going to save it. Okay, now what else I can enter? Patient is in Asian. Okay, now I save it. Okay, so it's I am not getting the pop-up of uh, of do you want to schedule the report, because these informations are not significant information, right? Now let us go to the events tab and let me enter another event. The moment I enter the event, even though it's a non-significant case, I have entered significant data, right? It is going to ask me a question, do you want to schedule the report? If I click on yes, the report is going to get scheduled. Okay, my another report has been scheduled. So every time I save the case, I get a pop-up. Do you want to schedule the report? Do you want to schedule the report? And it schedules the report. Now, we will talk about another switch, the last switch, which is significant. Okay, let me close the case, log out and log back in again. Okay, the logic for significant switch is initial case lock and subsequent significant follow-up lock. Okay, so this is the logic. So please make a note if you want to make a note of it. Now let us create a case. I'm going to select the existing case, case action copy. We are going to select an existing case and copy an existing case in order to save time. Okay, so let's come to 2008. Okay, we are in 2008. The case number is 125. Okay, now this particular switch, significant switch, is being used by almost all the pharmaceutical companies. So please be mindful. Okay, so what does it do? So as per the logic, initial case lock. Okay, so the moment I lock the case, my report should get scheduled automatically. Now the report will schedule based upon the reporting rule configured. Now this particular case does meets the rule. This particular case I have a life-threatening event in this particular case, and I also have a reporting rule configured which satisfies this particular case. So the moment I log the case, I expect the initial report to get scheduled by itself. It has not been scheduled. That means I have to clear the cache and log out and log back in again. I'm going to create a new case. Rather than copying the existing case, 0101 2009, 0101 2009, country is US, spontaneous report, product name is Calpol, it will open the product browser. I'm going to select it from the product browser. Event is cancer, which is a life-threatening event. Okay, when did the event happen? 0101 2009. Okay, let's select the reporter's information from the cases itself. Okay, so let me select the reporter which we created. Okay, we'll click on continue. Okay, then we are going to select the life-threatening event so that the case meets the rule. We are going to select reported causality as almost certain. Okay, we are going to click on it, bookend the screen, bookend, and create a new case. The case number is 126. Okay, so primary reporter, everything looks good. Let's go to the patient tab. In the patient tab, and let us click on this patient info from reporter. That means if I click on it, whatever the reporter itself is a patient, so he himself is reporting it. So I have given this button. It will populate pull all the information from the reporter section and put it on the screen. Date of birth, sorry, 01/01/1960. Okay. Now let's go to the event section. I'm going to save the case. Now let us log the case. You see, the moment I log the case, the logic is the moment I log the case, the report should get scheduled and subsequent significant follow-up log. Let's see. What does that mean? Now, I got a subsequent information. Okay, I got a follow-up information. And it is a significant information. So let us enter a significant information. 01/01/2010. Okay, and the significant information is another event that either the person was suffering, that the patient was suffering from ASDH, or suffering from asthma, Okay, now this is a significant information. So most of the time, all the product and the events are the significant information. Log the case. Now this time again, the case I should see a follow-up information, I should see a new report on my screen. I made a mistake. It did show the report, but I need to first, I will not be able to send the follow-up until unless I send the initial one. So I have to make sure that I send the initial report before I transmit the follow-up. Application will not allow me. It doesn't make sense that I am sending a follow-up and I have not sent the initial report to the agency. Right? The judge needs the complete information. So I'm submitting the initial. Okay. Now I have the follow-up information. So the logic of the significant switches, initial lock and the subsequent significant follow-up lock. Okay. Now let me unlock the case. I'm unlocking the case and I'm entering a non-significant information. Okay. Non-significant information is the person's, I'm changing the institution. Okay. Of the reporter. I forgot to enter the follow-up information date. It's 01/01/2011. Okay. So I got a follow-up after 1 year. So, and the institution is Bollywood instead of consulting. Case lock. This is the non-significant information. I have locked the case. See, in case of non-significant information, I do not see any follow-up reports. I see follow-up only in case of significant information is added. Is that clear? And in case of always, in case of non-significant information also, the reports get scheduled. So, the logic of significant switch, please make a note if you have not. This is a switch which most company uses. They want to send the report will schedule on the initial case lock and every subsequent significant follow-up lock. Okay. Now, let me take to the PowerPoint presentation and we're going to summarize all the switches that we have gone through today. So you have seen that you were a rocket pharma company and you are selling the Calpol product and you are sending the report to FDA when in 15 days when the case is life-threatening. So we talk about the learn switch. In the learn switch we had only one particular button which is schedule your report, and we had to manually schedule this, and in order to manually schedule we have to fill this particular pop-up box. Okay. This particular process is called manual. Then there was another switch called manual. In the second switch manual, we created another. We can see there is another button on the screen. The name of the button is auto schedule. Now the auto schedule will run based upon the reporting rule that we have configured. So you have to make sure that you have the reporting rule configured in your system. Okay, which is the which exactly is the criteria. The criteria could be that there are so many fields in this particular screen. So you have to explore and find out, and you can give any kind of criteria. You also have an advanced condition over here. So in this advanced condition, you can give any kind of criteria you want. Okay. And in case of when you click on auto schedule, you will find the term auto schedule on the screen. That means that it has been auto scheduled. Next is the background service. Okay, the report scheduling service. In order to make the report scheduling service, you should select the report scheduling service will be run by the middle tier service. Okay, and then you will see a checkbox auto schedule later. This particular checkbox is misleading. It should rather say report scheduling service. That means we are asking the data entry person to either click on the auto schedule button, or you check this checkbox and let the background service, report scheduling service, to schedule the report for you instead. Okay. Now the next is always. In always, we always get this pop-up on the case save that you update auto schedule report for this case. So do you want to schedule a new report? In case of significant, the logic is on case save, on initial case save and every subsequent follow-up log. Okay. In case if you have a non-significant information, the application is not going to schedule a follow-up report. Okay. So in this particular screen, you will see that there are different workflow icons. Icons refer to the screen where they are described. The notification logs provides a list of reports which have been scheduled, generated, or submitted. The following icon indicates the status of the report. So you must have observed when we schedule the report, you see this particular icon, and when we have submitted the report, this particular icon appears. Right? When the report has been scheduled and saved, this appears. When the report has been routed and disapproved by the user, these are the different icons. Report has been scheduled but not saved. Report has been marked as submission, not required by the user. Report has been scheduled, generated, and submitted. Okay, there are different icons. Then we have different expedited reports. Right. Now, US FDA, they only want MedWatch report. You see, for MedWatch drug, they have MedWatch drug only. For device, they have MedWatch device report. Now, if you send, there's no point sending other reports, Spain clinical or Spain spontaneous or Canadian, because the FDA will not be able to recognize those reports, right? That means, let's suppose you want to change you want to change your address detail in your passport. You should not fill the driving license form to get your passport address change. Right? You should fill the passport form to change your address in the same way. So you should always send a MedWatch report to FDA. Other reports are for other countries, like MHLW, these are for Japanese. CERFA is for France. Science is for EU countries. Okay. So we have different workflow state. So if you want to disapprove the report, you can select disapprove. That means you see this generally happens before you send the report, before you transmit the report. You have scheduled and generated the report, and then you realize that you do not want to send it. So you can disapprove it. Or else you have another workflow state that once the report has been generated, you can send it to another workflow state who is going to approve it. And that means the report is going to approve whether to send the report or not, whether to transmit the report or not. Okay. Then we have another switch called new data available, which I'll be able to cover in the later part of the session, maybe in the next session. Then we have another switch called no longer required. If you feel that this particular report is no longer required, then we can select this particular option, no longer required. Okay, this is manual report submission manual cycle. We schedule the report. We can see the report. We can click on the draft report. We generate the report by clicking on the final. We then transmit the report by going to report bulk reporting screen. We enter the submission comment, transmission comment, bulk report transmit email transmits the report, and then we go to work list bulk transmit to check the status, and then the email is sent to the authority. Okay, and then we are able to see the report under the report compliance submitted screen after we mark the report as submitted. Okay, then we talk about auto distribution of reports. Okay, you have to check this checkbox. In this particular scenario, what will happen? Simon will create the case, locks the case, and will go home. Rest of the work will be done by the application. Application will schedule the report, and the scheduling will be done by the report scheduling service. And then the application is going to generate the report, which will be done by the batch report service. And then we have bulk report transmit email, or bulk report transmit fax, bulk report transmit E2B, bulk report transmit print, and those four services is going to take the control and then transmit the report. Okay, then we have to enter two comments. One is auto distribution transmission comment and auto distribution submission comment. Now, submission comment will appear in the report details section, and transmission comment will appear in the subject line of the email. So we have to give a static value in case if you want to do an auto distribution. Now there is a force distribution comment. This is the force distribution comment. This force distribution comment is when there's another checkbox which is force distribute that you see on the screen. That means force distribute 2 days before the due date. So even if the case is in an unlocked state, the application is smart enough to check if the due date has reached, then application is going to lock the case and transmit the report and then unlock the case. So you have to enter the force distribution comment. This will appear in the routing comment section, and you have to make sure that your force reporting agent service is configured for this. Okay, so agent service for auto distribution. For auto distribution, we have to make sure for email. This is only for email. Report scheduling, report generation worker for 703 and later version. And then we have bulk report transmit email if you want to send email. But if you want to send fax, E2B, and print, then you will have to configure the other agent services as well. Okay, this is the force distribution comment, and this is the force distribute agent service on the screen. Report workflow, scheduling the report, generation, transmitting the report, tracking the report, and submitting the report. Report scheduling. Now, report scheduling, when we had the none option, manually schedule the report. It's a painful and time-consuming activity if multiple reports needs to be scheduled. Writing an invitation letter by hand to 100 guests. Okay, then manual. Auto schedule report by reporting rules are configured. So disadvantage of this is that application hangs if multiple reports, maybe 100 or 200 or 300 reports needs to get scheduled, as the multiple reporting rules tries to match the case data to schedule the report. Right? Always. Auto schedule report for both non-significant and follow-up information. It tries to schedule the report for both non-significant and significant information. Disadvantage, no company would like to schedule a report for non-significant follow-up. No company also likes the idea of getting a pop-up message on every time the user saves the case. In order to explain this, I am showing you an example. There's a telephonic conversation between two friends. So the friend A on day 1, this is not a question actually, this is actually a statement. Okay. Do you know that Mr. and Mrs. Mehra are filing for divorce? That means that friend A on day 1 is giving the information that Mr. and Mrs. Mehra are filing for divorce. Okay. On day 2, the friend A, he says to friend B that, do you know that Mrs. Mehra went to the court in green color saree? Okay, this is the second information on day 2. See, the most important point is on day 2 he is giving the information. That's not a question, but a kind of a gossip between a friend A and a friend B. On day 3, friend A says, do you know that the position of the girl child is with Mr. Mehra? Okay, so there are 3 days. In 3 days, Friend A is calling friend B and passing the 3 information. Okay. Now the first one is the initial information. The second information is kind of a non-significant follow-up. It's a non-significant, that means it doesn't really, I believe from my point of view, I'm not sure about from the girl's point of view, but this information was not necessary. It was called on the day 2, the friend A would have not given this information. On day 3, this is taking a significant information that the position of the girl child is with Mrs. Mehra. Okay, so in case of always, what happened? In case of always switch, the application tries to schedule the report, even if the information is non-significant. Okay, now let us check the significant. Okay, significant auto schedules the report on first lock and every subsequent significant follow-up lock. What exactly this means? Now, on day 1, friend A says, do you know that Mr. and Mrs. Mehra are filing for divorce? This is the first information. And on day 3, friend A says, do you know that the position of the girl child is with Mrs. Mehra, is with Mr. Mehra, and Mrs. Mehra went to the court in green color saree. So you can see, you can compare the difference between the always and the significant. Right? So I think that the significance which is much more meaningful. Please spend some time and think over it on this significant switch. Okay, it's very important. Okay, let's move ahead. We're just summarizing what we have learned so far, and then next part is report generation. After report scheduling, the next comes is report generation by manually clicking on the final hyperlink. First, we have to log the case. Okay, then if we do not want to click on the hyperlink, we can auto-generate the AG service. We will need 2 AG services. We will need either batch report generation and batch report generation workers. Okay. Now note, during report generation, application pulls the data from the case data table and generates the report and saves the PDF report in the database. However, on subsequent clicking on the final link, application pulls the PDF report from the database. Okay, clear? Next. Transmitting the report. Transmit the report, we have to go to Reports, Bulk Reporting screen. Now following are the AG service that needs to be configured. For email, we have transmit email. For print, for printer, we need transmit print. For E2B, we need transmit E2B. And for fax, we need 4 different services. First is transmit fax, fax status, and general fax. Apart from this, we will need a software which is a third-party tool, WriteFax software. and you have to follow the installation guide to install and configure the Redtrack software. For tracking the status of the transmitted report is from worklist report. Worklist bulk transmit. Bulk transmit is for faxing email. Print is for print, and bulk transmit E2B is for to track the E2B report. We're going to talk about this worklist report later. Okay. Then the last part is report submission. Mark the report as submitted from the worklist screen. Once submitted, the report will disappear from the worklist screen and will appear under the report compliance submitted menu. What is the follow-up reporting? Okay, we are going to cover this in the later part of the session. I believe you like the training, and this is all I have for today's training. And we will continue with our next session, and we will update you accordingly. I hope you like the presentation, and if you have any questions, please do get back to me. I will try to answer it, and you can send all your queries to pradeep.k.goyal@oracle.com. Okay? Thank you. Have a nice day.